Hello everybody and welcome back to Slam Talk Sports. It is Friday, so that means it is the preview show. I've got 7 games to preview from round 3 and of course my recap on Thursday night football. But firstly, I must address the rumours. Yes, I am in a feud with Kane Corns and Tommy Sheridan at the same time. It is purely for clicks and is purely because my podcast runs at a massive, massive loss. And in Kane's eyes, I am a nobody. And until I can rectify that, I can't have an opinion on football. Thursday night, footy, Essendon took down Port Adelaide and I was in attendance. How good was that? 12 points was the margin in the end. And there was a couple of key moves from Brad Scott. There's a couple of momentum-shifting plays in the last quarter that ultimately delivered the victory for the Bombers. I mean, Essendon, they started this game kicking 5 goals, 15. 5 goals, 15. You'd see a better quality in a football game between East Sunbury and Hadfield out at East Sunbury Oval. It was a hard watch as an impartial sports or footy fan. But at the end of the day, Essendon did enough to win this contest. I personally felt they were much better through the first 3 quarters. They just didn't capitalise on their chances. And when the chances came their way in the second half, they did what they needed to do. It was Nick Martin. It was Nate Caddy. But most importantly, it was the smooth movers and the good ball users that set up this victory for the Bombers. It was the introduction of Saad Al-Hawley at 3-quarter time. It was the clean skills of Isaac Kako, who set up a goal to Caddy, who set up 2 other goals just with a quick little foot in the ground, give him that Saquon Barkley, that Derrick Henry juke and beat your man, and deliver it cleanly into the hands of the forward. It was a bit of class around the contest in a game that was bereft of skill for the first 3 quarters. If you watch this contest, it was constant bomb long, kick it to Sam Draper's head, with Aaliyah and Radigalia both on his shoulders and the ball going pinballing the other way. And honestly, Port were not much better. They were really quite poor in this contest. Only 5 days after dismantling Richmond, they came up against a slightly sterner task and they wilted in the final quarter. I think there was a key matchups that really set the game up for the Bombers. In the first quarter, Ben Mackay got rolled pretty badly by Georgiades. I think he kicked 2 goals, 2. Definitely the first 2 goals were on Ben Mackay. Then Scott said, well, we're going to make some matchup changes. Let's put Ridley on him. And he started betting Ridley as well. He was too quick off the lead and the reach was too high. So he thought, what will I do? I'll put Zach Reid on him. Zach Reid, who had struggled mightily for the first 2 rounds, he goes to the hot man in Georgiades and he shuts him down. Goalless for the rest of the game with Zach Reid on him. That is probably the biggest takeaway for Bombers fans. You finally saw Zach Reid beat a decent quality opposition or a decent quality opponent and look fine with the ball in hand. Looked like he adjusted to the speed of AFL football. That was one of the big bonuses for the Bombers, as well as the role of Sam Durham. He went to Connor Rozee, who was the player of the round for round 2. Thanks to Slam Talk Sports. He shut down the danger man, and without the help of Zach Butters, and without the help of the horny one, Horn Francis, who really had a poor night, Port Adelaide didn't have enough in the guts to will themselves to a final quarter victory. They can't be too unhappy. I mean, they don't have Zach Butters. He's, in my opinion, the 2nd or 3rd best player in the league. He likely comes back against St Kilda next week. Port Adelaide have a decent break, a 10-day break to get themselves right, to lick their wounds and be ready to attack the next portion of the season. For the Bombers side of things, I think they have like a 15 or 16-day break heading into Gather Round to play Melbourne on a Saturday night. I'll be there in attendance, hopefully to see my Bombers get another big victory. But it was just a circuit breaker for Essendon. They had to win this game. Otherwise, it would be 2 weeks of constant speculation of why did you extend Scott? Is this the right list? Is Draper leaving? Does Merritt have any help? Is this the right players to lead Essendon out of this mire, which has been 20 years of mediocrity? For 1 week, or maybe even 2 weeks, we can settle down and not worry about that having to take over the players' minds and ultimately derail this season for the Bombers. That's it for the Thursday night recap. We move forward to Friday night football, and it is the Blues. Yes, the primetime Blues, once again, they take on the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. I think that there needs to be a footy bingo, like a footy drinking game. Every time a footy show or a footy podcast mentions that, it's Friday night or it's Thursday night, under the lid. If you say under the lid, you've got to have a shot. And if you watch Lee Montagna or David King, they will say under the lid at least 5 times on tonight's broadcast. I'm just warning you, you're going to get very, very drunk. The line for the Doggies is 3.5. Yes, the Dogs are favoured by 3.5 points. It is a Carlton home game at Marvel Stadium, but we know how well the Dogs play in these contests. And here are the teams. Here are the teams. Well, that's very poorly done by me. I'll rotate it around. In, we have Jordan Boyd for the Blues and Francis Evans. And coming out, Lucas Camporale and Cooper Lord. On the Doggies side of things, we have Liam Jones and James O'Donnell. Yes, some key pillars in defence returned for the Doggies. Out, Taylor Duray managed, and Arthur Jones has been omitted. It is really hard to get a read on this game. Carlton have been so disappointing to start the season. 0-2, lost to 2 teams they're very capable of beating. The Doggies, I mean, they're winning against North, might be better than what we thought, due to what North showed last week. Very, very close to beating the Pies. Very, very unlucky in that game. And particularly with the Blues, they've started years slowly in the past. They've built up steam, and that's been the way they've gone to the finals. Or the Doggies, who always start slow, figure things out by round 10, get their way into the 8, go on a run, and then ultimately lose in the prelim or the grand final. We've seen that from the Doggies as well. I don't think either side has to win this game. From the Blues side of things, you'd love to win it because it takes all the pressure off. But 0-3 isn't a death sentence in football the way it used to be. With gather round now, with opening round, with multi-buys, it's not the end of the season if you go 0-3. But it would be an ultimate circuit breaker and give them some momentum heading into the next portion of the season. I mean, the Blues got to get on the board somehow. And this Doggy side, missing Bontempelli, missing Adam Treloar, missing Waitman, is still vulnerable. It's a side you can beat. You've got all these great A-graders. Let's see them show up tonight at Marvel Stadium. Who would my tip be? I'd probably just tip the Doggies just because they play this ground so well. For a betting side of things, I like a lot of disposals in this game. I think it's sometimes easier to get touches at Marvel just because the conditions are so clean. And if you're a natural accumulator like a halfback, then there's more touches on offer, I feel, than rather than playing in a weather-affected game at one of the other stadiums or the MCG. So I'm betting-wise, I like Liberatore, 25 disposals. I also like Bailey Dale for 25 disposals. I like Joel Frazier. Yes, Dr. Joel Frazier Crane for 20 disposals. He's playing in the midfield. He's playing in the forward. He's playing down back. He had a gargantuan second half against the Magpies last week on Friday night. So I just think he is going from strength to strength in this season. Also like former Blue Matthew Kennedy for 20 touches. I mean, revenge game. Do those exist in football? They might. This is a man who they pretty much got rid of last off-season, who they subbed out of an elimination final just days after, or hours after his child had been born, and then shipped him out to the Doggies. Maybe a bit of revenge on the table for Matthew Kennedy. And anytime goal scorers, I like Latham Vandermeer, who has been pretty frisky this year, popping up in the goals column, and also Riley West. Now, all 6 of those players play for the Western Bulldogs. It's probably not a good strategy to win. You can't put them all in. These are more singles. I think I like these all at the odds that they're being given to you on the TAB website. Obviously, missed by 1, still in use. So until they get rid of that promotion, we'll continue to use the tab and their great missed by 1 promotion. Move on to Saturday afternoon at the MCG. I'm thinking, I'm an MCC member. Why not go to watch Melbourne take on the Gold Coast Suns? There will be 10,000 people there. I mean, I could pick my seat. I could even, run the committee room if I wanted. There's not going to be anyone there at this game apart from me if I go and Broden Kelly, okay? If the Kelly family are there, then I might have to attend to see the likes of Noah Anderson, Jed Walter, Mac Andrew, Sam Flanders. All these great young players are playing for the Gold Coast Suns. You know what I should do? I should pull the team sheet up. Here is the team sheet. Whoa, here it is. Now, Melbourne have made a lot of changes. I mean, usually if you make this many changes, you can't win. And they made, 5 or 6 from their supposed best 22 in round 1, and now in round 3 they've got May. I mean, May's probably the best in they could possibly make. Aiden Johnson, Jack Billings, Jake Melksham, Harvey Langford, and coming out, Matthew Jefferson, Charlie Spargo, Taj Woden, Daniel Disco, Turner, and Blake. You were great in Supercoach a couple of years ago. How's? On the Gold Coast side of things, Mac, I killed Essendon with 1 kick. Andrew, Jed Walter, Sammy Flanders all come in, and out Charlie Ballard with an ACL. Shocking for Charlie Ballard, has been such a great player so far in his career. To miss him will be crucial for the Gold Coast Suns going forward. Ben Ainsworth and Alex Sexton also come out of the side. Now, I want to show you one thing before I get into the analysis of this game. Have a look at this. Have a look at this. This is Melbourne versus Gold Coast. This was 2014 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground on a Sunday afternoon. Look at the players here. Gary Ablett, the great Greg Broughton, dropping a what? 25 touches. Michael Magnabok's risky tally with 25 touches. Up against the greats like Chris Dawes, Premiership player, Chip Frawley, Daniel Cross in a D's jersey. Hell, even Cameron Pedersen was playing. I bring this game to you for one reason. This is the last time the Gold Coast Suns defeated the Melbourne Football Club in 2014. That's right, Melbourne have defeated the Gold Coast 12 times in a row by an average winning margin of 40 points. How, with any confidence, could I possibly tip the Gold Coast Suns? Well, I'm tipping them because I've looked at the team sheets, and this might be the most talented Gold Coast Suns team we've ever seen. It simply is true. They've got talent all over the park, top line picks, Mac Andrew, Daniel Rioli from a trade, Matthew Rowell, Jed Walter, Touk Miller, Sam Flanders, Ben King, Jared Witts, Noah Anderson, A-graders all over the park. Now, we know what Melbourne's superpower was. It was their 4 to 5 superstars, their 4 to 5 A-graders. Well, I don't think they've got as many A-graders as the Gold Coast Suns. I don't think their bottom 6 is as good as the Gold Coast Suns. If Gold Coast ever want to make a statement in their existence as a club, they need to win this game. Okay? Melbourne will put up a good fight. But if Gold Coast are any serious about their prospects of playing finals football, then Gold Coast have to win this game. Move on to Labradoodle time / Tiger time. Is this now Tiger time? I mean, we've got to have a look at this. Richmond are playing in the 4:40 slot or the 4:30 slot once again. And they'll play in this slot again next weekend. Are they shoving them to the out of reaches of the football fans' minds? So they don't want people to watch Richmond anymore? These are the ins and outs. In comes Cooper Sharman. In comes Toby Travalia. I'll figure that one out on Saturday. Out comes Liam Stocker, who was once traded for a top 5 pick. Ouch. Out comes Hunter Clark. In comes Tom Lynch. Very good player. Not going to talk about, I think of him as a person. Tyler Sonsi comes in, and out goes Sam Banks and Liam Fawcett. The faucet has been turned off. The tap is no longer running. What do you make of this game? St Kilda are favourites by 27.5 points. I think they'll cover that line, even though St Kilda aren't traditionally a very high-scoring side. I just personally think Richmond gave it their all in round 1. They took down the Blues, but the quality isn't there across their whole roster. They've got Tim Taranto, who's about the 100th best player in the league, definitely not 150th. He's in the top 100. They've also got Sammy Lawler, Toby Nankervis, Taranto, Hopper. These guys are good players. Some of them are premiership players. They've got players they can rely on, but I just think the Saints, after what I saw last week, can match it in the mids, and their forward line will give Richmond a lot of problems. I think Richmond's defence is going to be their biggest issue this year. They've got decent players. I mean, Ben Miller, Boston, Short, they're okay, but I just don't know if they can defend the sheer amount of entries that are going to come in from St Kilda in this contest. I think Saints will just get by. I think they'll cover the line. I think it's going to be close for 3 quarters, but ultimately it'll be a 5-goal margin. Move forward to 2 games I'm really excited about. It is Hawthorn taking on GWS at York Park in Tassie. Now, the ins and outs from this one. We've got Luke Bruce coming in. Yes, the 300-plus gamer, the triple premiership superstar from Hawthorn. We've also got Connor McDonald coming out, who suffered a syndesmosis injury against Carlton last Thursday night. But this is what excites me. It's these 3 ins for the Giants. It's Jake Stringer, it's Jesse Hogan, and it's Kieran Briggs returning from that concussion. Out goes Callum Brown, out goes Max Gruzeski, and out goes James Leake. Stringer, Hogan, Briggs. Those are 3 prime movers for the Giants. I think both sides are close to their best health. Obviously, McDonald's in Hawthorn's best team, but there's no stars missing. We've got all the stars on the park. We've got Green, we've got Greens, we've got Callahan, we've got Hogan, we've got Stringer, if you want to call him a star. We've got the Wizard Watson, we've got Newcomb, we've got Willie Day. We've got all the big name players. This should be an absolute ripping contest, and the only place you can watch it is on Foxtel. I mean, that's a great idea. Let's just ostracise thousands of footy fans, hell, millions of footy fans, by putting the game behind a pay wall. Now, the line is actually 10.5 points to the Hawks. Yes, the Hawks are the favourites. Of course, they would be down in Tassie, and they actually beat the Giants in Tassie last year by a kick. The Giants then reversed that result when they played it later that year in Canberra. But really, there's not much form to go off playing in Tassie. They haven't played the games down there, apart from last year, I think since 2017. It should be a very close contest. If I was taking a line, I'd probably take Giants plus their line, just because these games are always close contests. Traditionally, not a lot of points scored in Tassie, but that might change. Who knows? It's very hard to predict football, but I was going to take the line. It would be the Giants at the line. Betting advice, I like one man in this game, and it is Toby Green. Toby Green to have 15 plus disposals. Now, that's paying at about $1.45. He had 16 in opening round, and he had about 25 and kicked 3 goals, 3 against Melbourne at the MCG in round 1. I just think with Stringer coming in, with Hogan coming in, they might station those two kind of deeper forward, particularly with Stringer having no real preseason, or having an interrupted preseason, I should say. Green just does what he wants. He gets up the ground, he gets into the mids if he wants. 15 touches and ain't a lot, and on TAB it's 14 disposals. That would be my best bet for this game. Also, Josh Kelly, $1.20 for 20 touches. It just seems too chalky. It seems too easy, so I'll probably forego Josh Kelly for this one. Next game we'll look at, it is Brisbane taking on Geelong at the Gabba. Now, this game predicted to have a lot of rain. What's a lot of rain, Darcy? Well, between 10 and 60 millimetres of rain, which makes it almost a no-go from a betting perspective. In terms of the ins and the outs, Charlie Cameron and Kai Lohmann return. Very good to have 2 premiership small forwards returning to your side, and 2 of the best in the league, particularly having Charlie back. But I love Kai Lohmann as well. Such a brilliant, classy young player. Coming out of the side, we have Connor McKenna, another premiership player, and Will McLaughlin, who played well last week. I thought he started really well. Unlucky to come out. That is the strength and depth of the Brisbane team. In comes Bailey Smith, who was a late out last week. Out comes Mark O'Connor. This screams Mark O'Connor late in for Tom Stewart, and Mark O'Connor tagging Lachie Neale. It's happened in the past. We know the tricks that Chris Scott likes to play. Now, the team flight will be going to Brisbane this afternoon. By the time you hear this or see this, we won't really know whether Smith and Stewart are in. I mean, like, you'll know, but on this broadcast, we won't know. So keep an eye out for the reporters currently at Melbourne Airport. By the time you see this, you'll know whether Smith and Stewart have gotten on the flight. The line, as I said, is 10.5 points Brisbane's way. It's going to be wet, so probably not going to be wanting to tape Brisbane at, 2 goals plus. No bets, as I mentioned. This should just be a really, really good contest. We'll see if the Cats mids can make an impression against Brisbane. I think that's always been the biggest weakness for the Cats over the last 2 seasons since they won the flag, is their midfield probably not strong enough to match the likes of Brisbane's. And Brisbane's prime movers showed up in that prelim final. I mean, this was one of the games of the season last year. Ultimately, it was the class of players like Cam Rayner and Lachie Neale that helped win the game for the Lions, which launched them towards their premiership. But maybe the Cats have a little bit of revenge on their mind, and the likes of Brad Close, Brian Myers, Stengel, they can thrive in the wet conditions and put up a score big enough for the Cats to win this contest. Move forward to Sunday afternoon football at the Adelaide Oval. Now, the game at the Adelaide Oval is, of course, North Melbourne taking on the Adelaide Crows. Not going to worry too much about the teams here, because I don't expect Adelaide or North Melbourne to make any changes for this one. They both played and won so well last week. The biggest thing I want to monitor here is the bigs versus the smalls. Yes, it is Adelaide's big four-line of Tex Walker, Darcy Fogarty, and Riley Thilthorpe, and how they go up against the likes of Core, Comben, and Logue. As I watched First Crack preview this morning, the space that Adelaide gives their forwards is so tremendous. You never see Thilthorpe, Walker, and Fogarty fly for the same ball or crowd the same area of space. They give each other room to breathe and room to work off another. And if someone's leaning up to the ball, you don't have someone else demanding it. You got him setting a block. You got him putting a bump on. You got him giving somewhere to lead into. It is that synergy and that cohesiveness as a forward line that makes you so great. And that's why Adelaide were the best offense in 2023, and they're a big chance to return to that mark for 2025. The line is 39.5 points. I personally think that's too many points, considering how well North played last week. I wouldn't be touching it, but I think Adelaide to win is almost a certainty. They're going to be really strong at home. They've won their first game at home. They've just traditionally been a good team at Adelaide Oval, and I think this will be too big a hill to climb for North Melbourne. I still think North are going to win a lot of games this year. I think they'll win 6-7, which is a 100% improvement on last year. I just think this is too tall a task too early in the season. Now, the other game I want to talk about is the Derby over in Perth. We've got the Eagles taking on the Fremantle Dockers. Teams-wise, we're not going to learn much from the teams. I can put them up here for you, but realistically, we don't know who's in and who's out. That'll come out later in the day. West Coast played so well that I don't think they're going to have any outs. Freo played so poorly, but none of those players scream to me that they're coming in. One will come in for Brandon Walker. It might be Dudley. It probably won't be Reedy. Don't know if they're going to play two rucks. It could be Aish. Too hard to figure out. But in reality, those players shouldn't be deciding the contest. It should be Fremantle's star-studded group of midfielders. I mean, seriously, Fremantle have too much quality. They've got all these A-graders. They need to perform like it. I know they kept the Swans to under 70 points. I mean, that's fine. If that's how you want to win games of football, that's okay. But you've got to score. You've got Tracy. You've got Bolton now. You've got Amos. You've got good quality forwards who can take a mark, who can make a lead. Just kick the ball out in front of them. As we've seen with so many teams this round, or at least this season, you can't hit people on the chest. You kick it to the left, you kick it too high, you kick it along the ground. If you give these big key forwards a chance, they will go and monster games. Josh Tracy is ready to monster a game that results in a victory for Fremantle. He's played well this year, but he's the only shining light in that forward line. Bolton's been off, Amos has been off, and there's no one else I really trust that he could score for Fremantle. It needs to be Josh Tracy, and it needs to be Caleb Sarong and Brayshaw hitting him on the chest time after time after time. That's how Fremantle win this game. If they don't, it could be absolutely disastrous for the Fremantle Football Club to start 0-3. We've got the Doggies next week in Perth, but geez, you would have lost 2 games in Perth already, one to your hated rival. That's not going to get it done, no. If you've got premiership credentials, or you think you can win the flag this year, you can't be losing those sorts of games. Now it is time for the most important part of the show. It is time for betting advice. You're not here to hear my tips. I'm awful at tipping. I'm okay at betting. Friday night football, 25 touches, Tom Liberatore. I think Libba is primed to erupt in this contest. He's been so good in the first 2 rounds without Bont that he should continue along that form. Ballydale, 25 touches. I like Ballydale. He's probably the one I'm most worried about out of all these bets. He's going to hit the 30 touch mark at Marvel Stadium most times, as long as there isn't some heavy attention from a Carlton tagger. I'm looking at you, Matthew Cottrell. Also, for 20 touches, I like Matthew Kennedy. Revenge game, we've said that. I just think he's well positioned to have 19 to 20 touches in this game. Joel Frazier, used in multiple roles throughout the season. I think he's well placed to have 20 disposals as well. Anytime goal scorers, I like Riley West, and I also like Latham Van der Meer. I'm going to put all of them in a multi? Probably not. That's a bit crazy. Will I put 4 to 5? You betcha. Let's see how we go. Saturday afternoon, Melbourne taking on the Gold Coast Suns. I like Cade Chandler anytime at $1.40. Cade Chandler obviously kicked 3 goals last week against North. I just think they're sharing the load in that Melbourne forward line right now. They haven't quite figured out who's going to be the one that kicks all the goals this season outside Jacob Van Rooyen. Bally Fritsch hasn't kicked multiple goals for a while now. Cade Chandler appears to be a likely type. Doesn't appear to be a sub-threat, and I think at $1.40, he's very well positioned to kick a goal. And for 20 disposals, Jack Viney. Jack Viney has had 20 touches in Melbourne's first 2 games. He doesn't appear to be playing a vastly different role than previous seasons, and in a game up against Tuke Miller, Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell, and some brilliant contested ball winners from the Gold Coast Suns, I just think Viney is going to need to put in a big shift in the midfield. Also, this round, what else do I like? Toby Green, 15 touches, have been through that. I think he's going to have a big game against the Hawks. He always rises to the occasion against decent opposition. And Adelaide against North Melbourne is the other game I like. From this game, there's probably 3 things I could recommend. And it is an anytime goal scorer. It is Alex Neil-Bullen anytime. He's about $1.65 or $1.70. The reason I like him is because Adelaide love to share the wealth. Everyone gets a slice of this goal pie. Phil Thorpe kicks multiple. Fogarty kicks multiple. Keys kicking bags already. But Neil-Bullen has kicked one in both rounds so far. The Adelaide halfbacks just work so hard back and forth that I think he'll get an opportunity, whether it's 20 metres out, whether it's a set shot from 30 metres out, he'll get a very good opportunity, and I think that he'll kick it. Yeah, I think Alex Neil-Bullen will kick a goal this round. And the other one I liked was 25 disposals for Jordan Dawson. Jordan Dawson has hit this mark in his last 5 games. He's playing such a brilliant, freewheeling role for the Crows right now. I don't think any sort of additional attention will come his way. And personally, he's one of the best players in the comp, and he's playing a team that I think is in the bottom 6. So represents decent value at $1.40 in a good matchup from a great player. And finally, Tristan Cherry. If you can get Tristan Cherry for 15 touches or 14 touches at plus $1.25 at any of the bookies, just take it. This is the best ruck in the league. He's probably going to monster Riley O'Brien. That's it. That's it for the round 3 preview show. Yes, it is round 3. Opening round keeps stuffing me up. That round didn't exist to me, so I'm always a round behind right now, but it is round 3. It started, the Bombers have won. How good is that? We turn to Friday Night Football. Can the Blues finally get on the board for 2025? Now, we don't have guests, or I haven't had any guests so far, but I have a voicemail. There's an absolutely fanatical Carlton fan who has sent me a voicemail detailing almost 10, 20 years of heartbreak and what is wrong with the club right now. What are the biggest issues? What are the biggest dilemmas? And really, how can we possibly fix them? Now, I won't play the whole thing. It is 15 to 20 minutes. It is longer than this show, this voicemail. I said, if you want to send a voicemail in, make it 15 to 30 seconds. He made it 15 to 30 minutes. But I will finish the preview show getting a look into the insights and into the mind of a Carlton fan. Because I'm a Bombers fan. Like, I can't tell you what's going on at Bluesland the same way, intimately and intricately, as a die-hard bagger. Here is a Rocco from Carlton to take you out and give you some encouragement heading into Friday Night Football. Enjoy your weekend. Love the footy. Go Bombers. Let's win a bet. See you next week.
How you doing, Darcy? Long time listener, first time caller. Thought I'd start by offering some credentials as to my claim to Carlton fandom. 28 years old, long-term member. Was go for Carlton or get out of the house as a kid, buy all the merch, go to all the home games I can, travel interstate when I can for games, follow all the boys on socials. I leave comments on their socials. Good effort, boys, good stuff, love to see it. Don't get too down, blah, blah, blah. But it's getting to the point where you start to question, why? Why am I doing this? Because the truth is, support is a choice. I don't have to support Carlton. I choose to support Carlton. And I'll be honest, when people sit there and say, this club's pathetic, this club's not going anywhere, I hate this club, what are they doing to me? I sit there and think to myself, you don't have to go for this club. You don't have to offer your time, money and love to this club. You leave. We've got 100,000 members and then some. We don't need you. We're good. You leave behind the blokes that are willing to stick by the club no matter what. And the reality is the fans are just as important as the players and the coaching staff. And we're all in this together. And it's time that there was a bit more transparency between the club and the fan base as to what direction this club is going, what decisions they're making, whether or not the list is actually up to premiership glory like they keep telling us it is. And maybe they should start to listen to the fans a bit more, because I know Michael Voss, obviously well-credentialed, good player, great player. He's been in the job for nearly 4 years. 4 years. He's inherited a list that has 2 Coleman medal winners, a dual Brownlow medalist. He's got 2 number 1 picks on top of that. He's got arguably the best ruck, the best fullback, the best forward, the best midfielder in the game at his disposal. and we want to sit there and talk about, oh, the bottom six isn't up to it. Are we taking the piss? There's 18 clubs. 18. They've all got lists of 44. There's like 500 players in the AFL. Everyone's bottom six sucks. Everyone's bottom six could be replaced by anyone else's middle, 10. Even West Coast, even North Melbourne, even though North Melbourne got a good list coming. Those excuses don't fly. You've got 6 genuine A-graders on your list. I'll name them for you. Charlie Curnow, Harry Mackay, Sam Walsh, Paddy Cripps, Jacob Wiedering, Tom De Koning. That's 6. And then that's not even including blokes like Sam Doherty, Adam Chera, Nick Newman, Adam Sard. Oh, who else we got? You get my point. We've got players on the list that are capable of playing good football. So the question isn't, do we have the personnel? The question is, why are we not getting the most out of the personnel we've got? We've got 4 blokes on $1 million. We've got another 2 about to be on $1 million. And we want to sit there and say we don't have the personnel? It's absolutely ridiculous. We should be rocking up and beating Richmond with 10 players. I'm sorry. I don't care how bad your bottom 6 is. Your top 6 has to be good enough to say, you know what, we're locking in, we're winning a premiership this year, and that includes coming out round 0, round 1, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and smashing Richmond by 100 points. That's what you have to do. You can't lose embarrassingly and then sit there and say, well, maybe we got it wrong at selection, maybe our bottom 6 isn't up to it. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then, you know what? Following week against Hawthorn, the effort was there. I'll give them that. So we've got the personnel. We've got the capability of showing effort against teams that are up there in top 2, top 3 best teams in the comp, which I'm sad to admit Hawthorn are. So what's the difference?